SpaceX Dragon suits drying.
And we are getting views once again of Endeavour docked to the zenith port of the International Space Station. Dragon is now getting power from the International Space Station, so no longer is reliant upon its solar arrays, which you can see at the top of your screen. There's the black portion on the Dragon's trunk.
Dragon Houston on the big loop. Comm check. Hardline audio config complete.
Houston, Dragon on the big loop, loud and clear.
And we have you loud and clear as well.
And as NASA astronaut Zena Cardman continues to work through the procedures ahead of the hatch opening today, she did just communicate with the Capcom, or capsule communicator, here in Mission Control Houston as they completed some hardline communication checks. All of this ahead of a targeted hatch opening at 3:15 a.m. Central Time this morning, so just about an hour out from that milestone. Another view here of Endeavour docked to the zenith port of the International Space Station's Harmony module. Can really see a good view of those black solar arrays there at the top of your screen, which helped provide power for Endeavour on its ride uphill following launch from the Kennedy Space Center at 10:43 a.m. Central Time just yesterday. For this launch, it was a fairly short rendezvous period. Dragon docked at 1:27 a.m. Central Time this morning, so just about a 16-hour time period from launch to docking. Inside the International Space Station, NASA astronaut Nicole Ayers has already worked to open the large hatch at Node 2 Zenith, which helped give her access inside the pressurized mating adapter. There you're seeing a view on your screen of that. She then worked to pressurize the vestibule, which is the small space between the hatches on Dragon and the space station. This was exposed to vacuum prior to docking and so needs to be filled with air to make sure its pressure is nearly equal with the atmospheric pressures on Dragon and the space station. So Ayers used a small valve on the station's hatch to slowly introduce air into the vestibule, and flight controllers here in Houston are now monitoring the pressure and temperature readings and completing a leak check to verify that everything is leak-free before we get ready to open up the hatches. And this is a view of the crew members currently on board the International Space Station, waiting to welcome the Crew-11, which docked again at 1:27 a.m. Central Time. Starting on the lower left of your screen is NASA astronaut Nicole Ayers, then Roscosmos cosmonaut Kirill Peskov, NASA astronaut Johnny Kim, Roscosmos cosmonaut Sergei Ryzhikov, and Alexei Zubritsky, as well as JAXA, or Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, astronaut Takuya Onishi, and finally NASA astronaut Anne McClain. At around 4:15 a.m. Central Time this morning, we will have a welcome ceremony, which includes not only our recently docked crew members of Crew-11, but also the Expedition 73 crew. So there will be 11 crew members living and working aboard the International Space Station for a few days, while Crew-11 completes a handover period with Crew-10 before they depart and splash down off the coast of California. Along with the 11 individuals in space we just discussed, there are 3 more that are living and working aboard the Chinese space station. So there currently are 14 people in space as we speak. While on board Space Station, Crew-11 will perform research and technology demonstrations, as well as conduct maintenance activities aboard the orbiting laboratory. Crew-11 will also contribute to NASA's Artemis campaign by simulating moon landing scenarios that astronauts may encounter near the lunar South Pole. This could help show how the space station will prepare crews for deep space human exploration. The simulations will also be performed before, during, and after their mission using handheld controllers and multiple screens to identify how changes in gravity affect spatial awareness and an astronaut's ability to pilot spacecraft like a lunar lander. Again, this view of the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft named Endeavour, which previously flew NASA's SpaceX Demo 2, Crew 2, Crew 6, and Crew 8, as well as a private astronaut mission entitled Axiom Mission 1, which was the first private astronaut mission to the International Space Station. This flight is the 11th crew rotation mission with SpaceX to Space Station as part of NASA's Commercial Crew Program, and overall the Crew-11 mission is the 16th crewed Dragon flight to the Space Station, including Demo 2 in 2020 and 11 operational crew rotations for NASA, as well as 4 private astronaut missions.
SpaceX Dragon pursuit fan.
Dragon, we're with you on the big loop.
Hey, we are 15 minutes into our suits drying. The suit fans were on, and the suit fan just suddenly turned off. I heard it audibly and verified in 5 alpha decimal 7 that the suit fan is off.
Okay, we copy. You just heard the suit fans turn off. We're going to take a closer look on the ground and get back to you.
Copy, thanks.
And that was NASA astronaut Nicole Ayers as they work through procedures inside of Endeavour, which includes removing their spacesuits following docking, sounding like the fan that is utilized to help dry those spacesuits did turn off, so the crew on the ground going to take a look at that. These spacesuits are worn during some of the more dynamic phases of flight, such as during launch and entry into orbit, as well as during the docking and undocking time period, as well as, of course, splashdown.
Descent Station on 2. We are ready for 2.102 on your go.
Hey, Nicole, you read our minds. Good leak check. You're a go for step 3.1.
Awesome. Go in step 3.1. Thanks.
And NASA astronaut Nicole Ayers reporting from the International Space Station that the leak checks are looking good for that vestibule repressurization. Again, that has to be done before the hatch can be opened, and there we are seeing a view of her on our screen as she works to open up that A-pass hatch. This is the first space flight for NASA astronaut Nicole Ayers. She launched on Crew-11 on March 14th. Prior to her time at NASA, she is a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Air Force.
Step 3.2.
And we concur. 0 DPDT.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop for suit fan follow-up.
Ready to copy.
We took a closer look on the ground, and we do see that the suit fans are still running and have nominal telemetry. We did see that the waist fan turned off around the time of your call. Could that have been what you heard?
That is possible.
So we're tracking about 19 minutes into the suit drying period now.
Yeah, affirm. Our timer is about 20 minutes.
And this view of NASA astronaut Nicole Ayers as she works to open up the A-pass hatch following the vestibule repressurization and leak checks, everything looking good.
On the big group, inventory report.
Kimiya, I'm with you on the big loop for the inventory report. Ready to copy.
Okay, first, water. 203, 1 remaining. 204, 4 remaining.
I copied 203, 1 remaining, 204, 4 remaining.
That's a good copy, and that's including the flashing this room. And next for the food, 302, 2 remaining. 304, 3 remaining.
I copied 302, 2 remaining, 304, 3 remaining.
That's all good copy. Thank you.
And Kimiya, can you report number of waste system uses?
We're going to report this for the private medical conferences. Sorry.
Copy that. No change from PMC.
That is true. Sorry, not that's true. We used a little bit more, but we're going to report during the PMC. Sorry.
Okay, copy additional uses and we'll report during PMC.
That's good copy. Thank you.
And those words from JAXA astronaut Kimiya Yui reporting some of the supplies the crew used on the flight uphill. Continuing to get a view inside of the International Space Station, though, as NASA astronaut Nicole Ayers has put on some gloves and has acquired a camera. She's going to inspect the hatch for any FOD or foreign object debris to make sure everything